being like, oh, we don't want women in gay club. For example, I think we are both girls gay.
Yeah. I was shamed a little bit in my
By
family.
your family?
Yeah. Literally, the more I share with my girlfriends, the more I'm like, oh,
Didn't-
you're just as nasty as us. Like,
Exactly, stop thinking.
Hi,
Hi, Tokyo Tops, we're back. Because I was chatting with a friend recently. He's like, oh, no, like I don't want any girls in a gay club.
Ooh.
And sometimes we get these kind of top comments as well on YouTube, being like, oh, we don't want women in gay club. But to me, it's like, it feels home, dancing with the girls and hanging out with the girls.
Yeah.
I just like went into this rabbit hole thinking, why are these people thinking like that? I have a theory.
Okay.
There's one type of there are two types of gays. One is girls gay. Another one is boys gay.
Yeah,
oh my God.
What is this?
For example, I think we are both girls gay.
Yeah.
Which is we hang out majority with girls. Growing up, like back in the day in school, and feel more comfortable hanging around girls.
Yeah.
I feel like the boys gay can be like late boomers, you know, like they probably spending most of their life hiding their gay sexuality. No, like it can't be, they're doing sports, they're like doing rugby, whatever. Like they're those kind of gays that isn't interested in mean girls watching, like assuming.
Sure. I hear complaints often about like girls sort of taking over the space. Like you have the very famous, if like always talking about like bridal parties, stag parties or stagette parties or whatever, right? When girls come in and then they're like, well, they're super drunk and they sort of like take over, and they also sort of like do like RuPaul stereotypes and like, yes, queen, and stuff like that. So people seem very like upset that like that is being like.
But I still think, okay, I hear you,
right?
I heard you, but I still think girls gay would not be not okay with that.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And the boys gay is gonna be not okay with that. Be like, oh my God, girls are taking over, because our original safe space was with the girls.
Agreed. Okay, so you think that the girls gays hang out with are not the type of girls to come in super drunk for their stagette party and be like, yes, queen. Because they would have more like
no. What I'm
but
saying is like even they go crazy, girls gay are not gonna be annoyed by that.
Oh, I see what you mean. Possibly, I would kind of maybe like roll my eyes and be like, "You go, girl."
We'll be like, let's do it together.
Yeah. Maybe that's true.
Crazy.
That's true. Yeah. So I think So you're saying the people who hate that are the
boys
boys gays.
They're not used to hanging out with girls, and they're not like comfortable be around with having this like feminine energy.
I remember a long time ago. And in a way, I will preface this saying, now looking back at it, in a way, I understand why we were asked to leave from this place. But I was at the time confused a little bit because it was in Ueno. It's like that shop in Nichome with like the sex toys and the DVDs. And I wanted to go into it. And I was with a girlfriend, and she was like, okay, let's go. So she was like, yeah, whatever, of course. Like, yeah, let's go see what's there, right? And that's why we're girls gays, right? Because that acceptance and that love. We got in and we started looking, and the shop staff came and they're like, you have to leave. And I was like, why? It was like, why is a girl in here? And I was like, why isn't it? Why not? And then they said, you're making everyone in the store feel uncomfortable. And I was super pissed off by that because I was like, she is the one who, as you said, supports us. Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because years later, especially bar aside, if I'm thinking about this as a more novelty shop that has porn and it has sex toys, I guess the guys there felt really uncomfortable because they were in there in a sexual aspect. Okay. Consuming media, thinking like, oh, this is so hot, right? And then like thinking about which lotion or sex toy to buy, and then they see a girl, and maybe, I have no idea, I'm just guessing, did they feel shame? Like, I don't want to be seen like that? Like if another gay's there, it's like, like we're cool, like you can sort of like relate or whatever, but a girl, maybe they fear that judgment. Sometimes when I hear these stories, I think about that story. I think those guys must have felt, well, they did feel uncomfortable. That's why we were thrown out.
The reason why is because they didn't grow up with girls. They grew up hanging out with guys. Because I think for us, like do you majorly hanging out with girls growing up,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and you think like I'm like very comfortable, like the girls accepted me
Yeah.
like very early on,
Yeah.
like didn't mind my sexuality at all,
Yeah.
and just became very close friends with girls. So we wouldn't think it's a weird thing having girls there, but we didn't think as a boys gay perspective, for them it's very how do I say uncomfortable. I actually have some theory why is that possible, or why it turned out to be boys gays and girls gay. I feel from my personal perspective, my dad wasn't involved in my upbringing a lot. I was like majorly with my mom.
Yeah.
That's the same for you, right?
That is the same for me, largely.
Yeah, largely. I think gay guys, like without the father figure growing up, can lean into more.
But that's that's also a dangerous,
It's very
right?
dangerous.
It's a dangerous
I
because
know.
people will say like they become gay because you're raised, you don't have a strong male influence in your life, right?
I'm just more comfortable hanging out with women.
I still think as well, just it comes from women being more accepting, more gentle, more open to things in general. I don't know. I wonder with the gay gays, the ones who are maybe they're just also grew up.
The boys gay.
The boys gays, maybe. Oh, the gays, yeah. Maybe they also just grew up without. I was gonna say without friends in the same like. They were more sheltered in general.
I feel they grew up pretending that they have to hide more. Another thing is I want to say is that I feel like gays came out
Yeah, I was
earlier,
gonna say probably
much earlier.
Harder to hide that they're gay, probably as well. Right?
Yeah,
A little bit more feminine.
So
and a
from
little
my
bit-
because my story is that like even though I came out to my mom when I was like 26 year
Yeah.
old, but I came out to my friends and people around me back in middle school.
Yeah.
But I imagine like boys gays sometimes they say like, oh, I came out like late 30s. Like what the fuck?
I would say I had two phases in my gay life with friendship with women, where there was a level of me being confident that they would accept me as gay,
Yeah.
as a guy who likes guys. But once I started going to Hatempa, I was a bit worried.
You afraid of they judge you?
Judgment. There's a lot of times where I would say that it was at that time that I also started making a lot more gay, like guy friends. And in that, we all know in our group that there's like no judgment anywhere. We can be pretty honest with each other about our, desires and what we do, right? And some of the things that we would talk about, I couldn't imagine initially, even though these are my very good friends and we grew up together and they, totally fine, and I knew that they loved me, there was an aspect of it being like, maybe I'll omit this part from the story.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a little bit older and I kind of like drip fed them occasionally, I realized, oh, they fucking didn't care at all, right? But there was a point in my life where I did think that they might care, that there was maybe a limit to their acceptance. You know how some people come out to their parents, but they don't tell the details. Right? I'm gay or whatever,
Okay.
but I'm gonna leave my other activities, right?
I mean, but like nobody really talk about sex in public though, in general.
Straight people will still talk about sex, like
to their parents?
Well,
I don't
I've
think
had
so.
sex or sex happens, but the details will be omitted.
I mean, I talk to my mom about sex
Right?
as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you're not going to go in to be like, I love smelling cum or something like
Who-
that. What I'm trying to say is that I think perhaps that's the same level. Some people mistakenly think that that's the limit that they can, they can't go deeper with girls about that.
Okay,
That's my point.
here's the thing. I think even the first time I had sex, I immediately shared with my girlfriends back in middle school. I did.
You were like, I got fucking railed last night.
I was always very outspoken regarding my experiences with my girlfriends because I treat them as my safe space and they won't judge me. Yeah.
But that's my point, is that we're all not going to be interpreting that space. We're as safe from the get-go, or we interpret it by slowly, little bit by little, sharing more or whatever, right? And those guys who are, boys gays, I wonder if they just think like girls would just never understand.
I have a fun question to ask.
Okay.
Do you think boys' gays turn out to be more tops? Girls' gays? It can be. Because I feel like me even you talk to me, be like, oh, you have similar values as like a straight woman. Because I think I have more conversation with like girls growing up, and we share those kind of like topics of what they think are some like attractive traits. And you think I have a straight woman mindset. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe it's because I'm a girl's gay.
Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't necessarily correlate to whether you're a top or a bottom, though. I think we know femtops, for instance, right?
We know femtops.
Yeah.
Is a girl's gay.
Is a girl's gay and is a top.
I mean, there is a mutation happening, but do you think in general, girls gays want to have more of a female role instead of the relationship?
Actually, you know what's very interesting? A lot of the shaku inu that I find, people who want to service are a little bit more the passive role, which I would then also associate slightly with bottoms.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If we're being like really like painting with a, wide stroke. A lot of them are very masculine, and also like beards and I would say neutral in their gestures and their way of speaking. I wouldn't say they're very masculine, but they're not feminine by any means. And I would also say that after talking to them, I mean, just talking to a couple or whatever, they look like they are boys' gays. I had a lot of boys who were friends when I was younger, for sure. But I think that was because society told me that was what had to happen.
I didn't have any. Well, I have some boyfriends. I ended up like sucking them, but I feel like my closest friends.
At what day? I'm sorry, not what day. How old were you? Because I think it started to shift for me around grade 6 or 7, so around like 12.
You had more.
I started having more girlfriends. Before that, it was mainly boys.
No, from the get-go.
So
I'm like the first grade of
grade
elementary
1?
school, I'm always friends with girls.
Interesting.
I'm like super girls gay.
Yeah.
And even throughout college as well, I do have more like some straight guy friends in college, because I got into like nerdy stuff, like World of Warcraft or whatever, like online games. And boys are usually more into that, so I do have some people I can share that kind of hobby with me. But in general, my best friends throughout my whole lives are maybe only this period of time.
Oh, really? Don't you think that has a lot to do with less about their friends and more about their home, their family? Because
I told you, because lack of father figures.
Oh, no. But also like think about if you had a father figure who was like, yeah, have a girlfriend or what, or like a friend who's a girl, versus like, shouldn't you be hanging out with boys, Sonny? I'm very interested. If you started in like elementary school, hanging out with girls and doing girly hobbies, your parents must have been actually really accepting of that. Because in other households, they might have stomped it out instantly. That is not, that's a girly thing to do. You're a boy. Maybe the real sadness is if boy gays are really suppressed. And I don't know if they are, but that could be even sad, like they're growing up in an environment that's really restrictive.
Yeah, I mean, guided, definitely.
Guided, right? Yeah. Guided, right? I remember once I got into Sailor Moon, I was shamed a little bit in my
by your family.
Yeah.
The time Sailor Moon was on TV, I remember like my parents didn't want me to watch it because it was too girly.
Girly, right?
When Card Captor Sakura was on TV, I was like already middle school or something, where like a late elementary school, I had more freedom to choose what I wanted to watch. But also my dad was away, so my mom, she thought I was just very popular amongst girls. I shouldn't be. Oh, I have no problem getting married in the future.
Literally, same thing happened with my family. I had so many girlfriends, and there was this one family gathering or whatever, like the whole family got together, an extended family and everything, because we were all hanging out with my friends a couple blocks away, like in the, you know, and I think there was like 9 or 10 girls, and then it was like, oh, let's go, like there's a picnic. I'm like, yeah. So we all went, and there's this picture of me surrounded by girls.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because that was, at that time, a lot of the family almost used it as like proud.
Yeah,
like
oh, he is such
look
a
at this
catch.
Casanova. Yeah, and like I look at this picture now and I'm like, gay. I remember having that argument with my family later on once they started thinking like I maybe was going too girly. When I was collecting Sailor Moon stuff, I remember having an argument because they were like, you shouldn't be playing with dolls.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're action figures. Like, what's the difference? What's the difference if you have an X-Men? I had X-Men action figures, and then I have Sailor Moon.
You know, talking about that, I feel like there's definitely a spectrum.
Yes.
And you're probably leaning a little bit more boyish than me.
Yeah.
Because you like X-Men,
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
These I was not interested at all. Like,
I think though, if you dove into X-Men and some of the female characters, you would be like, oh my god, she's
They're so slay, whatever.
Yeah. Like if we're thinking about the parts that where we overlap is like, if we're thinking about magic girls, like the fierceness of like the casting of the spell or whatever, and like the whole thing, like the transformation, exactly, and like shit like that. It's so fabulous, right?
The first time I think I watched Sailor Moon, was just wowed by the transformation. I was
So
like so
funny.
in love with that.
Are we hanging out with women less now because we are like more gay, if that makes sense? Like less attached to straight life, right? It's possible. Like when I remember when I was younger, it was me going to my girlfriends, like the straight bars, you know, and being their wingman, you know? I'm not saying that it was they wouldn't, sometimes they came, of course, you know, but there was still very much, I was partaking more in straight culture. And it makes me wonder, I don't know the answer, but it makes me wonder, was I just not diving full into gay culture?
I think our horizon is widened already.
Right?
Because before we think girls are the safe space, but now if we find gay people, then we are in a safer space. Then we feel like people who understand our needs. But before, like how many gays people do you know in your school? Probably like
yes,
exactly,
exactly, right. So your girls were definitely there to support us or whatever, but there weren't enough gays around us to, like, I always think about this now of like, why aren't girls around us as much? And I think it's because we're older and they often have families or
boyfriends,
serious relationships and stuff like
dogs.
that. Dogs. I thought was really interesting was, you know, sometimes when you're with a girlfriend and they have a boyfriend, even if the boyfriend is not homophobic, if the boyfriend is like even chill around gays, it doesn't necessarily mean that they want to go to gay bars.
Yeah.
So then it's possible that the girlfriend might go to a different bar, right? And so like slowly, you still love each other, you're still friends, but you know, we're pulled in different directions. So I think about that sometimes too. Is it that we're now, what's the reason? Is it because, I think it's a number of factors, really, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And maybe it's only me and only my experience, but in the way where there was a part of my gay journey where I thought, is this too much for my girlfriends? Should I not share? I wonder if there are boys gays who are like that, and if we just introduce them to girls in a way that they'd be like, honestly, I don't care, that they would come over to our side. Literally, that the more I share with my girlfriends, the more I'm like, oh, you're just as nasty as us. Like,
exactly. Stop thinking straight people are better than gay people. They're like more, like gay people are just nasty. No, straight people are as nasty as well. Even more. Yeah. But I think like, oh my God, there is a big mouse over there. It's scary.
It's cute.
It's not cute at all. So what I actually think like is a common ground for both boys gays and girls gays is our passion for divas, for gay music, for queer music.
We're not that different.
People are all girls gays, but just like circumstances make them to.
Interesting.
We are all girls in heart.
Well, that's a big statement. Although to be fair, it'd be better if all of us were a little bit more feminine. Erase a little bit of the toxic masculinity from the world would benefit everyone. So let us know in the comments. Are you a girls gay? Are you a boys gay? inappropriate question. Who do you think most of our subscribers are?
Girls gays.
You think they're girls gays or boys gays?
It can be both because I feel like a lot of people are saying like, oh, I have never been to Nichome or have never been to gay spaces, but it's good to experience it through your video. And I'm thinking maybe there are boys gays
That want to be girls gays.
Not girls gays, but like I feel if boys gays have the higher chance to hide who they are
Or
and not able
limited
to
spaces.
they're scared of like showing more feminine traits or experiencing gay venues. That's what I think. Don't take me seriously for this video. I know I'm like enforcing a lot of stereotypes, but should I publish a book for it? Be like girls.
I think we need to do a little bit more research before
For
we get
sure,
there. Yeah.
for sure.
Can you imagine just like
I want to know, like, if you actually identify yourself as a girls gay, do you think like lack of the father figure your upbringing is one of the reasons? Because I feel like it plays a major role in how I see the world.
I feel like that is putting back the gay movement like 20 years though.